Hello everyone, and today is a special day because I was finally able to afford a new 3D printer. However, I guess it's not really new. Today we're going to be trying to review, this may just end up being an unboxing and setup video, the Elegoo Neptune 3. I believe this is the 3 Pro, I can't remember. The title should hopefully say it. Either way, why did I choose the older version of this 3D printer, and why am I reviewing it and using it, or maybe using it in 2025 when there is a faster, newer version? So the first thing is the obvious, which is the price. The price is better, it's more affordable on this unit. The next one is that I have seen a few more issues typically with the newer versions, because that one, the trend when it was released was that printers had to go fast. Now this one I don't think goes as slow as your very basic printers. It might, I don't remember. Specs aren't important to me. What I was looking for was hopefully something that is on the more affordable end, but is a little more reliable. Hopefully. Obviously that's subjective. But yeah, I saw a few more issues typically for the 4 version, so I went with the 3 to hopefully have something that's more stable. So with that being said, let's get to the unboxing. Now the first thing is that they absolutely they didn't mangle the box, but it's got a lot of faults here. Like, there's a big gouge right here in the center. There's another one right there. It looks like this part got sliced by something, and there's just a few other issues just around the entire box. Now that can come down to Amazon shipping. I did buy this through Amazon through the Amazon Prime Day deals, so I don't know if our Amazon shippers are just getting really lax, especially with the fact that they shipped it like this. This is how it came to me on my doorstep, which is really kind of annoying and unfortunate, because that's why this box is so mangled as well, because they didn't have an outer shipping box, and they're doing that for like economical reasons, or eco-friendly reasons. They're trying to use less cardboard or something like that. And you can select, I think, to get an outer box, but I just didn't notice it because I don't get to buy things very often. So I don't have very high faith that my printer is going to be perfect out of the box due to possibly just shipping, throwing it, looking like they threw this around a lot. But let's get to the actual unboxing. So there's a breach in the tape right here due to that one gouge right in like the center of the top of the box. That's where I'm gonna take the opportunity to easily cut from there, because they did seal off all of the sides, seals, whatever you want to call it, which is good, but it also does make unboxing more difficult usually. Please keep this box for return shipping. Generic boxes will be rejected. Wow. Great, glad I have another 3D printer box that I have to keep. That's fun. It's not like I totally I'm not running out of space already. Okay, so as you can see, it had this top lid. You'll lift that up and then it reveals the first layer here. So then that reveals what looks to be the, Z-axis. There's also a little panel right here that okay. That looks to be all the accessories in there. We got lots of little pieces here. Like, I don't even know what this is, honestly, yet. Got the power cable, the tube for the spool holder. I assume this is a spool holder arm. We have some Elegoo build platform glue stick, which I assume this is literally just a glue stick. It looks like it. So it's not even like a special polymer or anything. It's just a glue stick that's branded, and then this has a variety of little bits, including one of those strange USB cords that are for connecting to your computer. It looks like it might be a bit short, but usually companies don't include that, so that's nice. That's another reason I forgot. Another reason why I didn't buy the Neptune 4 that this bag just reminded me was that apparently on the Neptune 4 the nozzles are proprietary. They made them just slightly different, and so the only place that you could get them for the longest time was from their site that were actually compatible with the Neptune 4. I don't know if that's still the case, but yeah, I went with this one as well because it just has a more widely available replacement for nozzles for when I want to experiment with those. Okay, and then we have notice for use. The TF card of the machine comes with an installation instruction video. Supply voltage regulation. Make sure that you adjust it to your current, your proper native power. Hotbed slide block wobbles. Okay. So it's saying to tighten up the gantries if they became loose in shipping. And we do indeed have the Neptune Pro 3, because I don't think they even provide the Neptune 3 Basic anymore. Let's see about what we can do. I don't know where to put this actually, because I don't have, this box is taking up all my table space. Come on. So this is very firmly in there. It is mostly assembled already, which is pretty cool, very nice. And it's got some decent weight to it, which is cool as well. Generally looks pretty good as well, you know. Just generally has some good feel to it right off the, off the bat, out of the box. If you can't tell, this review, if there is going to be a review, is going to be less focused on the specs of the machine, since there are so many other videos that talk about what the specs should be. This is just going to be purely based on user experience. Now I would assume that we're not done. Yeah, we got to get to the base of the machine. Some very nice foam. There's a build plate that is magnetically surfaced. It comes with a textured surface by default because that's the easiest to print on. The other side is completely smooth. I don't know if you're meant to actually print on that side, but I did on the Ender 3. There are no guides to place this on the bed properly to make sure that you have centered it and all that. I think I might just be able to lift this whole thing out and there's just some foam underneath it. Yeah, okay. Well, before I do that, set this back in there. There's over here, there's the screen, which they made this one where it has the quick release, I believe, and you can just pick it up and look at it if you want. I believe it's also a touch screen, which I've never actually had before, so that's going to be different and interesting. Very cool. So I don't think there's going to be anything else in here. I'm going to try and scoot this to the side without just completely knocking the box over, but that might not be possible. I want to make sure there's nothing in the box before I just throw it off of the table. This is indeed the final layer, and I don't see anything else. I don't see any pockets, so hopefully I got everything. And let's get this as the priority here. First things first is that we got this foam underneath here. I can just pull that out. This one's getting blocked by the control strip or whatever here. There were some marks right there, but they just appear to be dust. Thankfully, I thought that mine was already scuffed up. So, like I said, the first thing I have to do is figure out what voltage it's on. And of course, it's on 230. So I believe I would need to put it on 115 since I'm in America. I don't think I can do it with my finger. I believe they purposefully do it so that you have to do it with a tool, including a few screwdrivers and hex keys. Push that over. And then let me verify that this is actually correct before I move forward. Okay, yep, it's correct. Now it said if this is wobbly, I should tighten this up. It is a little wobbly. Now I need to find a wrench in here. Now this side has adjustments, the other side does not. I tightened it up a decent bit. So my instruction sheet here is torn. I don't know if you can see that on that camera, but that's a little annoying, but it's not too awful bad. I can still tell what's happening. This one just has the 3 warnings, so hopefully this has the rest of the instructions for setting up, unless I'm supposed to use the SD card to figure out how to set it up. Okay. So the first warning that was in this booklet, even though it's not the instruction manual for assembly, is that it said to not place the printer in vibrating environments or unstable environments, which unfortunately this table kind of is. So we'll have to keep that in mind when we are printing. Hopefully it doesn't contribute to issues, but it might. So there's a little bit of adhesive over here on the, I believe, Y-axis. No, it's the X-axis. I don't know why there's this little sticky goop on here, but there is. So the first obvious things is that I need to find the screws to go in here that will then go into here while we're putting that whole thing together. So this bag has a variety of different fasteners. I am thinking that I'm definitely going to need that video But these come in a 4-piece, which is exactly what we need. So hopefully these are the right things to go through, which there is a lot of length, and I believe these ones are not nearly long enough, so I think this is what I need first of all. I should really follow the instruction manual, huh? But they provided it digitally, and my camera's in the way of my computer over there. Dang it! I have to figure out how to set this so that I can screw it and that it will sit properly. These bed slinger style printers are always really janky when it comes to being able to maintain them when you have to tip it over. Now, let's move this back to center, roughly. And of course, this axis isn't even going to be good because of there's these little things sticking out on the sides here that are gonna, you know, mess it up. And this thing is not gonna sit properly sideways. I'm not experienced at building 3D printers because I don't get to buy many 3D printers. So these are the type of inconveniences that you have to deal with as an average consumer, I guess, right? Except for the fact that you can usually access your computer properly without having a camera sitting in the way of it. So in here they give you, for printing and firmware, R update, do not discard it. Thank you. In here there are 2 nozzles, an SD card reader that has a reader for full size and micro SD to average USB. Then there's also this little tube thing. I don't know what the tube thing is for just yet. I don't know if it's containing something, but I want to mess with it until it comes up in the instruction manual. I'm going to try and use the instruction manual, but it's not going to be easy. And the USB reader comes with the SD card already in it, and it comes with a supposedly 8GB micro SD card, which this does use. This has the ability to use micro SD card, so, you know, that's, you know, well, that used to be standard, but now it's kind of being phased out. Yeah, this is just really inconvenient. Oh my gosh. Align holes to those holes on the profile. So they're doing it basically the same way that I was trying to do it. I wanted to see if they had any special tips for trying to put this together, but they literally just are tipping this and then aligning this and finger threading these. These need to be out of my way, but they also need to be close enough where I can reach them. It needs to be the other way, which I don't want the head to just start sliding, which it probably will. Yep. Okay. Please. Now I should be able to put these over here. Stop. Nice extrusions on the bottom to make it nice and easy to tell where to insert these screws. Can easily poke them through the other side. Now we have to line up these threads. But unfortunately, on this side, this cable on the underside, this long one, where it comes out on the bottom, is very close to the underside screw slots here, so it's actually very difficult to finger tighten them over here. Okay, I think I have it started. Let's get the other side started so that hopefully this thing can become rigid and I won't tighten this too much in one direction. That's going to be not great for... Oh. Stop. Oh no. Yeah, this is just not going well. Come on. It's very awkward to hold it like this. Let's get this other screw done while we have the chance. Finger tightening on this side is a lot easier without that cable being in the way. Stop, damn it! Those are completely tightened. I don't know about the other side. I forgot to use the leverage side. Guess I'll freaking do it. There we go. Now it's fully tightened finally. Let's see what the next step is. Okay, so one thing it does say is to push this cable through to try and make room for finger tightening the underside screws, which I did not do, and I just dealt with it. I still was able to tighten these screws, obviously, but I guess there would have been an easier way. So the next thing is using this weird piece. This thing is the screen holder. So we just simply need to put that in place using these 5-piece screws, which I believe there's only 3 needed for this, but we'll figure that out later. There are holes on this side, the right side of the printer, specifically for this thing. So you can't customize it and put it on left or right. It is meant to go on the right side. This is a kind of annoying place to try and work in. There's a magnet here which is kind of throwing off my hex key screwdriver sometimes. Really? I managed to get the first 2 screws in. The middle one was easy. The top one was difficult a little more because of how close it is to the body, the main body, and also the magnet. And now I'm doing the bottom front one, and I can't tell if it's threading in properly or not. It doesn't seem like it. Let's just make this 10 times easier by doing it like this. Now that I'm almost done with it. I think I've definitely cross-threaded this. Hopefully I didn't do too much damage. Let's try and set this properly. There we are. Maybe. It still looks like it's bending in the wrong way. I don't know if that was my fault or what the hell is happening here. But this does not seem to be setting into place the right way. In reality, I probably don't need this last screw, but I just got the machine, so how do I have 2 screws in and it's still not in the right spot? I think I moved the whole thing upward a bit more, and it looks like it might go into place properly now. So that's a bit of a weird, maybe there's just enough, there's still a little bit of tolerance on these other 2, on all the holes, so that you can move it a little bit, and so hopefully it won't be a precision thing that they have to worry about, if I were to guess, while manufacturing. But I finally got this frickin' little tray on there. Okay, so the next step, they obviously say to plug in the screen, place it on there, and then it's also talking about the voltage regulation again, but I've already done that, so hopefully I can skip that step. Okay, so the last 2 of these 5 screws go for the spool holder, which you cannot slide it side to side. It is forcibly put in the center here. If that's good or bad is, I think, more up to preference, but, well, there is some statistical stuff that probably would be better, but... Okay, so they have to be screwed in from the top because there's a light bar underneath here. So, we easily screwed this thing in. I would assume that we can screw this in. It looks like it can go on either side, so really the spool is not centered. I can foresee some possible issues where the spool might get caught on this when the head goes over to the opposite side of wherever the spool holder is. Also, it's not letting me screw this in seemingly on either side. Okay, I have it on here, on this side. I guess this is where it's going because the other side was not working for me. I don't know how tightly I'm supposed to do this. Still haven't felt much resistance. It's just been kind of resisting the whole time. It's been the same. I'm gonna leave it like that. So I believe this spool holder is meant to be ambidextrous in which side it can go on, because it also has the 2 threads here which are for the filament runout detection, which is handled by this box here, which I believe was still the same on the Neptune 4. I think it's the same box. What in the frick? This thing it seemed like it was going to be allowed to rotate, but it is definitely not. And this thing is being really weird about how it's meant to work. Am I doing this wrong? It seems like it's got to go like that so that it can actually flow properly and go through it. So it still swivels, but within a certain limit. I don't know how I feel about this thing. It looks a lot more secure in other people's setups. So now it's talking about some R-shaped buckle, which I don't really see something that looks like what they're talking about, but I have this thing called the cable clamp, which is what they're using the R-shaped buckle for, so this is my only assumption is that this would be this thing, but I just don't know. This thing just looks way different than the one that they have on the video. I think this is how they're doing it, like this. But this thing takes up the entire width of the buckle, so I can't even actually screw this in. the cable blocks the screw hole. So it just keeps going. It just says the R-shaped buckle, which I don't have that. All I have is this plastic piece. It looked like they used to supply a metal piece, and they just like loosely tie it off like this, but that just doesn't even seem like good. So they definitely should update that video, because if they did include, if this is for something else, I have no idea where that other R-shaped buckle is. And additionally, this still doesn't seem like it should fit, like it will fit properly. Okay, I've bunched it up a bit. Hopefully this is correct, but if it's not, then this is kind of on them as far as I can tell. This looks like it's gonna pinch on this cable, so I gotta scrunch it a little bit more, which is also not desirable, but oh well. Okay, so there's that. These little cables don't even reach far enough. They just start plugging in cords, and as far as I can tell, this cord has to go here, but I might be wrong. First of all, it barely reaches. There we go. Then it starts to go off and do this one. Have to figure out which is the right side. The nub goes towards the back. Trying not to bend any pins in the serial port, but being difficult when I'm trying to insert this. Well, hopefully that's put in there right. Oh, and then there's also a clip here for the actual, to hold the strandy in place, and it's getting caught on the thing. That's not good. Something's gonna have to be done about that. Okay, and then these two connections that are really short. There's a small one that goes in the side, I believe, here. Then there's this wider one that goes in a plug that's on the underside of this thing. And now there are connections that are over here on this bottom side here. So then there's this bundle of connections right here that look like they could have already been made. I don't know why they didn't do it in the first place. I assume some electrical safety reason, but this wider one that says Z, so I'm pretty sure that's the one that goes here. I think they tried to show it in the video, but they just kind of like sped past him showing the label. So I didn't quite see what label was what. I just kind of have to infer for the most part. These short cables are being really annoying. I also have it upside down, so that doesn't help either. And then there are two connections that are just two separate wires. One of them has 3 pins, the other has 2, so they're pretty self-explanatory as far as I can tell. Hopefully. Then there's also another connection over here. This one also just says Z, so I would assume it's the same thing as the other side. So plug that in. This is already plugged in. So now it's talking about how to adjust if the head is loose, which my head is actually not very loose at all. It's only minorly, if at all, which that is going to be done by, first of all, I need the wrench. I can't find it. There it is. Looks like there are 2 of the little things down here that I need to I'm going to try and tighten up just a tiny bit. I don't think there's any like natural wobble. It's only like flexing wobble and weight wobble from how far out this head sticks out. Other than that, it should be good. And I assume it's going to talk about the bed next, but I already did that. So then it talks about adjusting the belt tension, and it just says use the wheel to adjust it to proper elasticity, which for inexperienced printers, users of 3D printers, it's not very helpful. What is the proper elasticity? Which really I don't know, but I just remember that they say there should be, you know, some bounce to the belt, which I'm going to say right around there. Can't really see on either of the cameras, but this isn't going to be very helpful for anyone anyway, I'm pretty sure, just like their video isn't for this. We'll adjust it further if we need to. Then after that belt, they talk about adjusting the y-axis, making sure it's not wobbly, and adjusting the belt, which this belt seems like it's got some decent tension actually, so I tightened it just a little bit, but it seems like it should be pretty decent. Okay, so now they say that we should be able to plug it in, assuming that we have put the voltage to the right setting, which let me double check it. Should be 115, yes. Now we should be able to plug in the power cord and turn on the printer. Okay, well that's unfortunate. I don't know if I flicked the switch, but I guess the printer was already on. It's not completely an issue, but it's not really what you would like to see. There is a screen protector over here, but I would prefer to leave it on there as long as possible. So I guess maybe I have to remove the protection sticker because it might be in the way of some important information. Well, the bed temperature, but yeah, I'll get rid of it, fine. So then it says if it's your first time, you should level the bed. This operation will trigger the return to zero action, whether to continue. It's a bit weird way of wording. This will have the homing, and do you wish to continue, but oh well. So one thing, whoa, what was that? What is it doing? What the fuck was that? That's not what you want to hear. Is it getting caught on this thing? I don't think it would have that violent of a reaction to it, but I don't know. It's already flexing it out of... Oh my dear. I made a mistake. That explains that. Whew, it's a good thing I caught that. Holy crap. So I put the wire over top of here, which you don't want to do, because when it homes all the way down, this wire is definitely not going to be long enough with this catch over here, this wire holder, to be able to have that length and not mess some stuff up seemingly royally. So yeah, don't do that. Like I said, I don't get to assemble printers very often, so these are things that would be helpful to know. I've plugged it back in, and I think I've errored the machine because it still says that it's returning to zero even though it's just stopped moving completely. I'm going to turn off the machine and turn it back on. It says booting and it's got like a loading bar, but the loading bar isn't moving. I don't know if I've already bricked my machine. Oh, no, there it goes. So the startup time seems a little long. I don't know if that's just because of me unplugging it and such. So let's try the leveling again now that we won't have a catastrophic failure due to my poor construction. My poor following of the instructions of the construction, I should say, I guess. Though I don't think it specifically said not to put it over top. I don't know if that should be common sense, but I mean, obviously it is once you start going. And I even know this, but I haven't worked with a bed slinger in a long time, so let alone assemble it. So I think I might have almost made that mistake up with the Ender 3 V3 SE as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how well the auto bed leveling works on this, because I have not been having luck with affordable auto bed leveling for, I guess, years now, you could say, within reason. Excuse you? I guess maybe I have to set the Z offset. That's right, I think it says that it doesn't have an automatic thing for that. They just confirmed their Z offset. Can I like retry? Get this and then I can't put the paper under it while it's leveling. It's gonna mess it up just ever so slightly. But I can't get the paper underneath it to properly check the Z offset because it's already so close or something like that. It just automatically selected to negative 2.2 millimeters, and I can't verify that. It keeps catching. I don't know if that's because my paper keeps is not level enough or what, but this needs to go up so I can get under there, please. There we go. 2.2. That is way too close because I can't even move the paper. No wonder I couldn't get underneath it. Dude. Really? What the Okay, I'm getting a little bit where I can actually move it now. Oh, here we are. So that seems like it might be more of a proper leveling, but let me go up to 0.65. That seems better to me, where it has a nice grip, but I can actually move it. Maybe I'll move it down just a little bit. A little bit more? Let's go with that. It still might be a bit too close. Let's do it like this. Can I get the paper under there this time? I can. Let's do 165, just as a safe measure, I think. The other ones still seemed a bit too tight. I don't know. Calibrate the bed, sure. So now it's going to heat up the bed, and I guess also the nozzle. Hopefully there's not like any calibration filament still left in the nozzle, which there very well might be. I don't know for sure. I wish they would pick up the head from the, I wish while they were heating they would pick up the head from the bed, but they are not. And so I have no way of knowing if there is going to be any oozing or something like that. It's a little unfortunate. Honestly, I'm not quite sure what the purpose of heating the nozzle is for. I don't think that that's I might be wrong. I understand the heating the bed is important data, but the nozzle I feel like is less, and that might end up just throwing the results off a little bit if there is filament still on there and such. Maybe they're heating it up so that they can wipe off the nozzle? I don't know. But still, I wish they would take it, I wish they would take the head away from the bed. Especially now that the nozzle is heated, but we're still waiting on the bed. What the heck is it doing? What the frick was that? It wasn't even touching the thing. That's not even on the bed. Is it actually sensing something? This might be due to my ignorance on the specs, but it's not touching the build plate, and that may be because it's, I think that it might have one of those sensors that senses the metal build plate, which is actually really not good for what I want, because I want to use a G10 build plate on this machine, and I don't think it has a metal undersurface, so I planned on using bed clips, but even so, if it doesn't have the metal, I don't know how it's going to work, if that's how this works. I'm going to have to do more research on that. But yeah, it's still not even, it doesn't come close to touching the build plate, which is interesting. So one thing that's interesting is that this printer, or the video, says worry about the Z offset after the leveling. However, their initial Z offset that was on there was way too close, in my opinion, based on what I was feeling, and it was completely blocking the paper, so pay attention to the distance between the nozzle and the bed. So yeah, now it's telling me to adjust the Z offset, which I've already done, but now it's heated up, I guess. Okay, so now it's not close enough. Oh, now it's got quickly way too close. The hotness is hard, it makes a little painful. That seems about right. It's really hard to make these precision movements when my fingers are being burned by this by the thing. I'm gonna go with that for now. I think it's too close based on how I'm pulling out the paper. Let's just go with negative 1.8 and see how that goes. See how much it scratches up the paper. I don't know if that's actually, yeah, it shows up on the video right here. So we're gonna go with that and see how it works. Calibrate the bed. I mean, I think someone did recommend that you do it twice in one of the videos that I was watching a while ago, so let's let it go again, see what happens. See if it changes the Z offset at all, like how it feels or whatever. Probably won't, but you know, can't hurt to experiment, I guess. It's still not touching the plate, which is interesting. So I really think that I do have to worry about that metal sheet, and I'm not fully for sure what that means for when using the G10 plate. Okay, I was able to get under. Still has an okay grip. I'm still just gonna go with 1.8 and see how that works. We now have to load up Filament and see how this works. Where's it going? Oh, it finally lifted from the build plate. They do include a small unspooled roll of filament like this, but I don't trust these. People have said that it's not good typically to use these because then since it's not on a spool, it can get caught and do all sorts of weird janky stuff. Both of my cameras are about to die, so let's try and do this quicker. Okay, so then we undo this. This should go through here, and yeah, that light should turn on. You just force it through. Now that I'm rushing, now that I am rushing, I'm gonna probably definitely make some mistakes. Let's prepare, give it plus some Z height. Can I not hold the button? I cannot hold the button, you have to press it, or you have to press it multiple times. So then to load it into the head, I assume you can just pull down this lever, push it in. It's only at 140 degrees, so it's probably not enough. Let's go to 200. The bed will go to 60 just in case, since it says that it's at 0. Now we gotta wait for the filament to heat up, or the hot end to heat up. There's also this quick PLA settings. So the only thing that it changed was that it set the hot end temperature to 205 instead of 200, which it's quickly heating up. It's already at 200, so I can start loading this. Pushing out white filament, so either there was nothing in here or the test filament was white, I honestly don't know. But either way, now I need to go get the SD card and load up their test file. Which way does it load? It doesn't say. So it looks like it loads in upside down, of course, which I guess a lot of machines do for some reason. Okay, so now if we press print, yeah, they have the Buddha. Let's do that. Print this model, sure. It's set to 205, 60, which is already at that. So then it should start printing sometime soon here. It's even got a little preview picture here, which is nice. The third-party firmware that I installed for my Ender 3 V2 was supposed to have that, but it never actually worked. So I don't know if this is actually going to work or if it only works because this is their preloaded model. It's possible it might have to be generated with their software. Also, the hot end temperature went down to, whoa, oh, I guess it was yellow. Excuse you? It's not seeming to print right. Right off the bat, we're having issues. Oh wait, no, okay, well it was going, I couldn't see under there, but it looks like it's way too close. Are you kidding me? That's gonna be a pain to take out because of because the bed is heated. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back in a little bit for this. Okay, so I don't know quite what was different. I did the leveling process twice and adjusted my Z offset in it both times. I raised it a little bit higher than what felt right and ended up getting a better first layer. And here is how it turned out. I don't know if this camera has enough definition to be able to tell, but there is some layer shifting, but that also comes down to the table, I think. The table is very wobbly, as is my camera skills, sorry about that. But it looks fairly decent still, even with the slight layer shifting that is there. Personally, I would be satisfied with it. I wouldn't say this is business quality, but like I said, maybe once I get this on a more stable chair, or stable table, this might even look better. I still don't quite understand how the auto leveling works, and sometimes it seems like it puts the Z offset by default too close anyway, even after adjusting the Z offset. I don't fully understand this machine yet. I definitely need to do more research about how it completely functions and how it, really works. I forgot to see about the print removal, to see how difficult it was. This thing is, oh my lord, that's some strength. My hand is freaking wobbling on it. It's so on there so strong. They made it with a raft. I don't know why they bothered with that, or at least I think it's like a skirt. But yeah, there's, it did it with the adhesion assistance, which it could be hiding some possible curling issues that they were, for their demonstration print that they're trying to hide. But for PLA and being on a textured build plate, it should not need assistance. I finally got it off, obviously. It was very violent. This printed on there, so now it's annoyingly on there. I'll have to try and peel it off with side cutters and stuff, but yeah, we'll have to see how this actually how the final quality is in a little bit. I need to get the right angle for this. Okay, let's quickly just try and see how difficult this is gonna be. Hopefully not very, but with how this looks, it looks like it's gonna be pretty much just it's just attached. Okay, I got a good chunk off, but it's still only peeled the outer layer. Okay, so we're getting most of it, but still little bits here and there. And for this being a test print that's supposed to, show off how good the printer is, it's a little iffy, if you ask me, because having to do this post-processing on PLA is a little whack. Then again, this printer is older. I don't know exactly how much older, but I don't know. I feel like there are a lot of printers that should still be able to print PLA without having significant warping issues, especially with the textured build plate. I don't know, I'm not going to worry about finishing this off too awful much more. It still is not perfect, but I don't know, it looks a lot better. The first test print is it's only okay. Could have been better, but like I said, there were other factors holding this thing back, so I'll try and get this in a better setting, and then maybe we'll do a Benchie and see how it functions. This is not a good vlogging style camera. So one thing that I remembered that was a little bit weird when I was looking at it while it was printing is that there were certain points where it was just stopped, even though it really didn't seem like it should have been. And I think that those points are fairly exaggerated and obvious on these front little spikes here. I hope you can see it. Hopefully I'll get a better picture of it too, but there's little like lips and stuff that are not meant to be there. Some of these are more normal and natural, but there are ones that are obviously like flattened out and just kind of weird. Shut the hell up. Yeah, so that's something that I'm gonna have to figure out too. I heard of an issue like this before that has to do with the power outage detection, actually, where if it's activated, it will pause because it needs to log that it completed the movements or something like that. I don't fully remember, but yeah, so that's another thing that's going to need to be worked on or tuned out. I'm not fully for sure what that would be yet. I don't think this is exactly a common issue, so we'll have to see. Okay, so here we are in the other room with the printer on a more stable table. And I was getting ready to print the 3D Benchie, however, noticed and realized some things. So first of all, it seemed like it was too close again. I did not run the auto bed leveling thing again, even though I probably should, and that's what I'm going to do since I obviously need to reset this, but it seemed like it was, again, just a bit too close. It's hard to tell because I don't know if I'm just not used to using textured build plates anymore, but they always just look like they're just it's like really in the grooves, and I don't know. It always just looks problematic when it comes to the skirts. Another thing that I realized and remembered is that I never actually cleaned the build plate. So that first print was with, just however the build plate was. And so I'm going to clean it before this next one as well. And the final thing that I have is that I asked on a forum about how exactly the auto bed leveling works, and unfortunately the way that it works will make it so that it cannot be exactly what I wanted from this printer, at least the way that it is now. So the sensor, instead of being a physical probe like normal, it's magnetic, meaning that I assume it detects resistance when it starts to get close to metal. So you need to have a spring steel or metal style thin build plate to get even a semi-accurate reading, and I think that might be why this is so close, because it just doesn't actually care about what build surface it's actually using. It only detects the metal. So, I don't know. It's a bit frustrating, and I still don't quite know what to think about it. The main point is that even though I wanted to use a G10 build plate on this thing, you can't, apparently. I don't know if offsetting the Z offset would help, but I don't have the money to test it out right now. I bought some G10 build plates, but if they get damaged, I can't return them. And I bought a different build plate that is more like this, but with smoother build surfaces to try and complete the objective that I've been trying to do for years now. So I'm going to try that build plate, and I'm going to have to return these other ones because, to my knowledge, it just doesn't work that way, unless maybe one day I might be able to change the type of module that the leveling module, but I don't even know if that would work and how much that would mess things up. Okay, so it says that it took 1 hour and 7 minutes to fully complete. I need to turn off the light somehow to make things look correct so that they don't look super blue. Alright, and here is the print. So, I have not looked over this quite yet myself. So far, the initial look at it, but let's take a little more critical look at it. Okay, so here it is on the build plate. Let's see how hard it is to remove it. Not very. Ooh, okay. So I don't understand, but there's an issue with this printer where oh my god, this is perfectly at a level where it's gonna make me out of center. There's an issue with this printer where when it finishes a layer, it just sits there. And that creates issues because you can see on the back here, there's a bunch of nubs right here. On this little thing right here, that's all messed up. You can see the chimney's messed up. There's a bulge right here. There's a bulge on the cabin door frame, on the cabin door trim. And so, yeah, generally there's just a bunch of blobs that are just, I just think it's just not acceptable. Additionally, the text on the bottom is completely not visible. It's just gone, which might be a side effect of the textured build plate. Maybe if I had used, as I started this thing, like 10 or 20 minutes after I started this print, I had that smooth build plate arrive. So maybe the text would show up better on those. Certainly hope so, but those blobs are pretty obvious, and so that's a pretty big issue actually. I mean, honestly, so far I'm not very impressed with this printer. Even though it's affordable. I mean, granted, the rest of the print, when it doesn't have like endpoints, if you ignore the blobs, the rest of it looks pretty good. It's got pretty smooth lines. There is a little bit of possible like ringing and wobble on the layers, but it looks fairly decent. But yeah, those blobs are just gonna be atrocious for anything really, especially if you try and do anything functional. So that I really need to figure that out and figure out what that's about. But I think that's a good general first video of my first impressions of this printer. So I'm gonna try and make a full review of this printer when I get it tuned in a little better, maybe try and learn a bit more about the printer and use it a bit more, hopefully. But my initial first impressions are honestly not very great. Hopefully I'll be able to find some solutions to some of these issues, and maybe in the actual full review I will be able to give it a passing grade. But as it stands right now, straight out of the box, it's a bit rough. Anything good about this printer is pretty basic, that it just generally should be good. The only thing that this has that a lot of affordable printers don't is a touchscreen and removable screen. But personally, I don't really care about that compared to having print results that are not with, these blobs and crap like that. Anyway, I feel like I've said enough. Probably I've spoken way too much, probably. And this printer is, I think you've got a general idea on whether or not you'd like to buy this printer, at least based on initial results. Like I said, I will try and do a video where I will learn a bit more about this, hopefully see if I can fix these issues. But yeah, until then, I cannot actually recommend this printer. If you found this video informational or enjoyable in any way, please leave a like. If for some reason this video has enticed you to buy this printer, I will have an affiliate link in the description below. Please use it. It does not add any cost to you, just a little bit of time, and you have to use that tab to make a purchase. It doesn't even have to be this thing. You can purchase literally anything you want after clicking that link on that tab, but and it's obviously about Amazon, but it'll help me out. This channel is normally a 3D printing and music channel talking about guitar, drums, and of course various subjects around 3D printing and just generally whatever I want sometimes. So if any of that sounds good, please consider subscribing. That's all I have to say for now, so I'm gonna say bye-bye.